All right, thank you.
Thank you for the time, though, Your Honor. I do appreciate that.
No problem. Okay, let's proceed with our SAP calendar for today, August 17th. We are addressing position number 20 on our SAP calendar. And this would be State versus Mr. Lubmir Penchev. That case number is 23 CR 004 00B. Mr. Penchev, if the deputy, is the deputy next to you?
Here's where we are.
All right, could we please unmute the screen? All right. Mr. Penchev, my name is Judge Lal. I'd just like to remind you that you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Any statements that you make, your statements can and will be used against you. You know, the first thing I should ask is before that is, Mr. Penchev, I don't mean to be rude, but do you speak and read English fluently?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So the second thing I'd like to remind you is that you have a right to an attorney. Ms. Samantha Adams will be your counsel, and she will be speaking on your behalf. Mr. Penchev is accused of battery, family violence from an incident of June 14th, 2023. Ms. Adams is his counsel. And Ms. Adams, how will we be proceeding with the case today?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Penchev is going to be pleading not guilty. In addition to that, we'd like to be heard on bond.
All right. Mr. Penchev, I've advised you of your rights, and I've indicated that your attorney is presently Samantha Adams. Can you hear me all right, Mr. Penchev?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Mr. Penchev, you've been charged with a misdemeanor offense of battery, family violence occurring in June of 2023 in Fulton County, Georgia. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case is going to be scheduled for a trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor will have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If the prosecution does prevail, you could be convicted of this offense and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead? Mr. Penchev, given this information, do you plead not guilty?
I just plead that you plead not guilty.
I'm not guilty.
All right. So did you understand the information I just gave you?
Yes,
Okay.
$2,000 or 1 year in prison.
Correct. That's only if the prosecution proves the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. Your case is going to be scheduled for trial, and we're going to address your bond issue at the present time. I understand that your bond you received at the first appearance was $1,500 surety bond. So I'm going to let your attorney speak for you from now on. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Adams?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Penchev has been in Fulton County Jail for about 15 days. He is a 73-year-old man. He's retired. He was a caregiver before retiring, and even now in his time, he voluntarily continues to care for others. He, on the date that he was arrested, he was actually on his way to the store, on his way back from the store from helping somebody, an 80-year-old man that he actually helps care for. Mr. Penn, this is his very first offense. He's been here in this country for 23 years, and he would like to maintain his innocence. Also, too, Your Honor, the complaining witness is Mr. Penchev's wife. However, they do not live in the same apartment. They live in the same complex, but they live in different buildings and on different floors. So with regards to that, Your Honor, we are requesting a signature bond from Mr. Penchev. In addition, he is willing to stay away and have absolutely no further contact with the complaining witness while this case is pending. And with that, Your Honor, we are requesting a signature bond from Mr. Penchev.
So what's the building number in which he lives?
So it's the address is the same. It's 2911 Bar Court South. His current wife, I believe she lives in unit number 411. Mr. Penchef lives in 868. And the way that he described it to me, she lives in one building on the 4th floor and he lives in another building. The buildings are connected, but he's in another building on the 8th floor.
What kind of location is this?
It is one of the senior resident apartment complexes over on Far Court.
I see, okay. Do I have my pretrial officer here? Is it Mr. Howard or? Do we have a pretrial officer?
She's signing on now, Judge. It's
All
Ms.
right.
Tyson.
Thank you.
I believe they just arrived here.
No problem. Mr. Pellon, are you responding to this case?
I am, Your Honor.
All right. While we're waiting for his GCIC, or if you have it, you can
I
tell
do,
me.
Your Honor. I can't confirm defense's assertion that this is his first arrest.
Okay. And any particular objection to a signature bond with a no contact?
Your Honor, the state would ask that you maintain the surety bond. I presume, Your Honor, as she usually does, was able to read the incident report. And I would just highlight again from that the victim showed the officer hospital discharge papers, which indicated she'd had a concussion. So I think $1,500 surety bond is already pretty low for the offense accused. And I appreciate that they live in different apartment units, but being in the same building is concerning.
The allegation is that there was a push and she struck her head on the floor and from where she sustained her injuries. Would that be correct?
I didn't see specific allegations that there was a push. I just saw that there were allegations that there was striking to the head. I will note, for Your Honor, that the officer was speaking with the victim through the victim's the victim's daughter because of a language barrier difficulty.
Yeah, I read that part too. I'm not sure what language they speak, but there was.
If I may give a little insight, Your Honor, the complaining witness speaks Russian and her daughter also speaks Russian. She's not very fluent in English. She just speaks more English than her mom. And so there was some confusion about whether or not, well, there was a statement made that my client allegedly pushed the complaining witness, but that statement was made by the complaining witness's daughter. And she didn't witness the incident. Also too, Your Honor, I just wanted to make sure I corrected the state. They live in the same complex. They do not live in the same building. They live in separate buildings as well as separate units.
All right, so the address on Odyssey is not updated with respect to his unit number and so forth. So
That is correct. And also too,
right.
I forgot to mention that because Mr. Penchef is retired, he does have little means. He receives an SSI check. He also receives public assistance.
Understood. His bond is going to be set at $3,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services.
Yes,
Mr. Penchef, if you can unmute, I need to make sure you understand what we are saying. Mr. Penchef, can you hear me?
May you repeat? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, now hear you.
All right. Can you tell me your apartment number at the apartment complex?
We got different enter and exit with my wife. She is different.
Mr. Penchef, remember when we spoke yesterday? What unit number are you in?
Oh, 886.
886. All right. And what unit is your wife in?
She's another building, is 5-floor building. She's 441.
Okay. This is still an active case against you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
When you get a summons to come back to court, you must come back and be ready for your trial. You understand?
Must come back where?
Come back to the courthouse.
Oh, yes, yes.
All right. I am giving you a signature bond, $3,500 signature bond. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Which means that you can only keep that bond if you comply with the conditions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
You cannot have any contact with, I think her name was Tatiana.
No, Your Honor, in this matter, it's Lubov, Liubov, Pentchev, same last name.
Okay, the wife has an almost similar name to the defendant. I think Tatiana was the daughter then.
The
Yes.
daughter,
What's your wife's name?
Lyubov Penchev, Tatiana is daughter.
Okay. You are to have no contact with Lubov Penchev, which
Yes.
means you cannot go back to the same apartment. 441. You can go to your apartment, 886, but you cannot go to 441.
Your Honor, I do have one question. If Mr. Penchev has belongings at that
Well,
441.
I'm getting to that. I
Okay,
just want to make sure he understands no contact.
I understand, Your Honor.
Mr. Penchev, if you see your wife walking in the apartment complex, you must go back into your apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot talk to her. You cannot call her on the phone.
May I ask a question?
Go ahead.
The last the court day, the last time, the judge told me I may get sheriff and get my stuff for the
Okay,
apartment.
so you have the same question. I'm getting to that. I just want to make sure you understand you cannot talk or be near your wife.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can get a police officer, a sheriff or a deputy to walk with you to Mrs. Penchev's apartment to get your personal belongings.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I don't know what personal belongings you have there since you have your own apartment. So what do you have there that you need to get?
This apartment I rent for my wife, and all stuff is mine inside. I left for her.
I'm so sorry. What items do you want to get from your from 441 that you don't have in
My
886?
computer is inside, and it's another stuff.
I need to know what it is because she lives there.
I can.
So that's the problem I'm having with this request, Miss Adams. If he already has his own apartment, why is he going to another apartment to retrieve items?
Because he recently moved to the other apartment, Your Honor.
What is recent?
Mr. Penchev, how long ago did you move into your unit from the old one?
Question.
How long ago did you move to your,
More than 3 months.
Your Honor, that sounds like he has his personal belongings.
But I do believe prior to this incident, he would still continue to go over there, so I don't know if he got everything. Mr. Penchev, you did state that you need your computer. Is there anything else that you need from your wife's apartment other than your computer?
I don't remember right now. I'm in the jail.
All right.
Your Honor, with
No, I'm not going to, I'm retracting the one-time visit. Mr. Penchev, you cannot go to the apartment where your wife lives.
Yes, ma'am.
No one-time visit. Do you understand?
No alone, no police officer.
No visit, no.
What about my computer? It's my information is inside.
Listen very carefully. You have your own apartment, she has her own apartment. If you need your computer, your daughter can get your computer from the apartment and bring it to you. Tatiana can do that, but
Yes.
you cannot do that.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the only thing you're removing from Ms. Lubov's apartment is your computer. So you have to tell us, what is it? Is it a laptop? Is it a desktop? Is it an iPad? What is it?
Desktop.
It's a desktop. Okay, so your daughter can have it removed, but you cannot go to the apartment to get it.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Now, if you are paying rent for that place and all that, you shall continue to do so.
Yes.
All right. Now, and you cannot drink any alcohol, you cannot take any illegal drugs, and you cannot own any guns or any firearms.
I never do that.
Okay. Now, once a month, you must come back to Ms. Thomas. Can you let me know where are the pretrial folks reporting for pretrial visits? Oh, I'm not, no, sorry, not Ms. Thomas, Ms. Tyson. I'm sorry, that's probation. Sorry.
No problem.
I'm right here, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Tyson, where are the pretrial defendants reporting for the once a month visits? Ms. Tyson? All right. Mr. Penchev? All right, once a month, you have to report to pretrial services. And before you are released from the jail, they will give you an orientation and give you all the information where you must report.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Now, is there anything that I've told you that you do not understand?
Yes, I understand everything what you told me.
All right. You will receive a summons to come back to court. And Ms. Adams, please send in his complete address to Miss April Champion in the chat. And we will update that on Odyssey to make sure that his apartment number is listed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Penchev, and best of luck with your case. 3 South, who do we have, please?
Possession number 25, Sam.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Adams, this is also your client, I understand?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
And this case is also going to be arraigned. Your client is entering a not guilty plea.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, are you Deshaun Kamar Sims?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Kims, my name is Judge Lal, and we are addressing your case 23 CR 4791Y, in which you are accused of 1 misdemeanor offense of battery from August 2nd, 2023. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Adams. Do you see Ms. Adams on the screen?
Yes.
All right, good. Mr. Sims, I understand that you intend to enter a not guilty plea. You are charged with a misdemeanor offense of battery, and upon your entry of a not guilty, your case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecution prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and/or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Repeat.
Was it not guilty?
Not guilty.
I heard not guilty.
Yes, that's what he said, Your Honor.
Mr. Kims, did you state not guilty? Mr. Kims, good morning.
Mr.
Are
Sims,
you awake?
do you hear the judge talking to you? I don't know if he can hear us, Judge.
Mr. Kims, can you hear me?
Talking to you, answer. That's not my name.
Are you Mr. Sims?
Yes.
Are you pleading not guilty?
Not guilty.
Thank you, sir.
What?
This case is further notice for a jail jury. Anything else to address, Ms.
Yeah, yes, Your Honor. We would like to speak on the issue of bond.
All right.
With regards to Mr. Sims, he is a 36-year-old male. He's been living in Atlanta for about 8 years. He's currently homeless, but he receives Social Security and SSDI. So we're gonna have our social worker come talk to him about housing. He is currently in jail he does have a probation violation hold. However, Mr. Sims also suffers from cerebral palsy. And so, because he's also has little means, Your Honor, we're requesting that his bond be changed over to a signature bond.
Ms. Nimini, good morning. Do you have a rebuttal to that?
Your Honor,
Or we
Mr.
can ask Ms. Tyson for a GCIC if you don't have one.
I have his cycles. He does have a couple cases in Georgia. He has 7 total cycles, disorderly conduct, obstruction, criminal trespass in 2015. 2021, he was convicted for simple battery. 2022, failure to appear in Michigan. He has some cases, obstruction of a congressional officer, assault, invasion of privacy, and then an assault and assault of another officer and an assault, but that was dismissed. I think 1.5 is a reasonable amount considering that, you know, the victim in this case, he just pushed her out of nowhere. And I think he was drinking earlier. And the state believes that 1.5 is a reasonable amount.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Adams.
Although the report says that he pushed her out of nowhere, it did not come from out of nowhere. And those facts are facts that should come out maybe in a trial, considering the fact that Mr. Sims would like to maintain his innocence. And the purpose of today is simply about bond. He didn't do it out of nowhere, though.
I understand, Ms. Adams, and I do know these are facts that need to be fleshed out during the course of a trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
However, Mr. Sims was on probation for 1 count of battery at the time of this alleged incident. He has an open probation case, 21 CR 004869Y. And his probation doesn't expire until November of 2023. And this incident occurred on August 3rd, 2023. Based on the fact that this is a alleged act of violence, he is already on probation for a violent act. The bond of $1,500 remains the same. This case is going to be further notice for jail jury.
Your
Thank you.
Honor, if I may, Your Honor, I did have this discussion with Mr. Sims that if he was not able to get a signature bond today, he would like to change his plea.
Okay, have you got the documents prepared for his guilty plea?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, we will come back to 3 South as soon as Ms. Champion receives your documents. Just 1 second. Ms. Nimini, it appears that Mr. Sims had a backup plan. So have you already conveyed the offer? Have there been any changes in the offer?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
The offer had been conveyed, though, just to be clear, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Nimini, please, could you please state the offer so that we can make sure we're all on the same page?
Yes, Your Honor. For Mr. Sims, 12 months, 60 days, credit for time served, 13 days, balance probated, 8 weeks of anger management, community service, no further, stay away from Ms. Wendy Hoover, and then no further contact with Ms. Wendy Hoover, and stay away from 1521 Peachtree Street.
And for the record, Your Honor, he's been in Fulton County for 15 days. The alleged offense date was August 2nd, 2023.
48694. Just let me get back to his original case.
Yes, sure.
And Ms. Thomas, if I accept this plea, this means that this gentleman will be on 2 probation cases because he's got a revocation in the other one. Ms. Thomas?
I'm sorry, I am so sorry. Just stepped away. I'm back.
No
I'm so
problem.
sorry.
We are addressing position 25, Mr. Sims.
Mhm.
And it appears that Mr. Sims wants to proceed with a plea recommendation. If the plea hearing goes forward, he will have 2 active probation cases back to back.
Correct.
All right, okay. Ms. Adams, are you ready with Mr. Sims, or can I move on to 5 South and then come back to Mr. Sims?
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay, 5 South, who do we have, please? 5 South?
We have edition number 16 and 17. Mr. Meyer.
16 and 17, I think that is with a conflict counsel. Do
Mhm.
we have Ms. McLeod or conflict counsel on Zoom?
No.
All right, 5 South, we are still waiting for that gentleman's attorney to appear, so please hold, okay?
Your Honor, we are ready. This defense is ready if you would like to take Mr. Simmons' plea.
Yes, I am. I'm just checking to see who is the attorney for 5 South, and it's conflict counsel, and we are waiting for conflict counsel to appear. So let's proceed with Mr. Sims' plea hearing.
Yeah, Your Honor, before we do that, would you like for me to go to the fourth floor to get the rest of the people there, come back to 5 South for this?
That would be fine because conflict counsel has not appeared. And as soon as you get folks in courtroom 2, we would truly appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Mr. 3 South, Mr. Sims, can we unmute, please? Mr. Sims. Mr. Sims, can you hear me? This is Judge.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Sims, it appears that we are going to proceed with a plea hearing, that your bond modification was denied and that you want to instead take a plea. Would that be correct?
What? Yes.
All right. And do you understand that you're already on active probation for another case?
Yes.
And you'll be reporting for 2 probation cases.
Yes.
Do you still want to proceed?
Yes.
All right. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Nimini, without requiring you to repeat the whole plea offer, it was 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 13 days. He'll need to do 8 weeks of anger management classes, as well as how many hours of community service?
30 hours.
30 hours of community service and no contact with Wendy Hoover. How many days would he have to serve at the jail if the plea is accepted?
Your Honor, based on the recommendation that I received, it was 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for the 15.
15 days, excuse me, yes, 15 days.
Credit for the 15 days, yes, Your Honor. So I believe you would have to serve another 15 days based on the fact that the jail is giving 2 for 1.
Ms. Nimini, do you agree it would be an additional 15 days?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Adams, does your client accept these terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sims, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood what your attorney has explained to you?
Yes.
Have you understood what's going on so far?
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this guilty plea today?
No.
If you decide to plead guilty to this charge of battery, you would have to give up your right to go back to court for a trial. You will not have the chance to be represented by an attorney so that you can confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, examine witnesses, and have the prosecution try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 15 days. With the 2-for-1 ratio, you'll have 15 more actual days served at the Fulton County Jail. Once you have completed your time at the Fulton County Jail, you must report to probation. You remember where the probation office is?
Yes.
You must go back to probation immediately and start probation on this new case. You will report to probation every month. You will also complete 8 anger management classes. Those classes must be completed within 120 days of being released. That means within the first 4 months, you must complete those anger management classes. You're also to complete 30 hours of community service, and that must be done at any nonprofit agency. You are to stay away and have no contact with Wendy Hoover. You understand?
Yes.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons, no firearms. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I apologize. Did you get the answer, the question answer for Mr. Penchev about pretrial?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I just
Okay.
wanted to confirm that he had no priors. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, no, he had no arrest. And then when he actually gets released, he'll get his instructions on where and like how to report when he gets released. They'll give him something.
All right. He seems to understand English. He's just a little limited. So, and he's 73 years old. So I just wanted to make sure that he knows where to report every month.
Okay, I'll send an email just to give him like a little heads up when they go to release him.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. 3 South. And who do we have, please?
Possession 4 and 5, Dixon.
All right. Ms. Adams, is Mr. McLean within earshot?
Yes, he's coming right now, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. This is position 4 and 5. Would that be correct?
Your Honor, yes. Count 4 is 1 count of criminal trespass and 5 is the FTA.
Understood? Okay. And Ms. Valerian, this plea goes forward. I understand that the state's going to null pros position 5. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. I'm going to give Mr. Dixon his rights and have them mute their screen. They're having some kind of feedback. All right. Mr. Jerry Dixon, my name is Judge Lal. I'd like to remind you, you have a right to remain silent, and anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney to represent you, and Mr. Mike McLean will be representing you during the course of these proceedings. This is going to be a plea hearing with regards to your case 22 CR 3876Y, in which you're accused of criminal trespass. And your second case, 23 FTA 686, is a charge for failure to appear in court. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Deputy at 3 South, could we mute 3 South until I'm ready to address Mr. Dixon again? Thank you. All right. Ms. Tellerian, what are the terms of the plea?
Yes, Your Honor. The terms are 12 months probation, 45 days for credit with credit for time served for 13 days, 50 hours of community service, stay away from the Walgreens, which is at 25 Peachtree Street, Atlanta. And after the completion of the community service, the balance is suspended.
All right, let me just clarify, is 12 months to serve 45 days, credit for time served 13 days. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and then 50 hours of community service.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and stay away. Understood. Thank you. Mr. McLean, are those the terms to which your client has agreed?
They are, Your Honor. We discussed them in detail with the calculations involved.
All right, and I'm so glad. So do we know exactly how many days he has left to serve in the jail?
That would be 10.
All right. Do you agree, Ms. Talleyrand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID, sir?
We do.
All right, thank you. Deputy at 3 South, could you unmute, please? All right. Mr. Dixon, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood your attorney and the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No.
And are you doing so freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you decide to plead guilty to criminal trespass, that you would have to give up your opportunity to go back to court and have a trial, to have the assistance of counsel so that you can confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, examine witnesses, and have the prosecutor try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
And you understand that you'll be reporting to probation to complete 50 hours of community service, and also that you will be in jail for another additional 10 days. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Right. Given this information, how do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
The sentence is 12 months to serve 45 days, credit for time served 13 days. Once you have served the additional 10 days, you'll be released and you must report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While you're on probation, you're to complete 50 hours of community service, and you must report to probation every month. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. That concludes this case. 3 South, do you have another case?
Position 24, Simpson.
All right. Oh, and Ms. Tellyren, please submit the null pros for position 5.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is position 21.
Position 24.
Oh, I beg your pardon. 24. Thank you. Okay, this is Miss Adams' case. This is State versus Archie Lee Simpson, 23 CR 4809J. Mr. Simpson's accused of simple battery domestic violence from a November 29, 2022 incident. Mr. Simpson, make sure one thing. Okay, Mr. Simpson, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is going to be Miss Samantha Adams. I understand that you plan to enter a not guilty plea. Would that be correct, Miss Adams?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Simpson, I've indicated you've been accused of a misdemeanor criminal offense, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If they do prevail, you could be convicted and face a sentence of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, I'll accept your not guilty plea. The case has been arraigned and further notice for jail jury. Ms. Adams, you wanted to consider a bond modification? Mr. Simmons is, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yes, Your Honor, we would like the court to consider bond modification. Currently, Mr. Simpson's bond here, this misdemeanor.
I'm so sorry. I'm going to interrupt for 1 second.
Yes,
3
ma'am.
South, could we mute the, it's creating a lot of sound feedback. Thank you. Sorry about that, Ms. Adams. I want to make sure I could hear you clearly.
Yes, no problem, Judge. With regards to Mr. Archie Simpson, he does have a bond of $1,000, currently a surety bond of $1,000. He has been in jail here at Fulton County for about 13 days. He is 60 years old. He was gainfully employed when he was arrested. He was an assistant manager for a store called the Supergiant Foods. He had been there for about a year and a half. He had not been in trouble in quite some time, Your Honor, before having these charges, before getting, being arrested for these charges. He does maintain his innocence and does want to go ahead and fight this case. He has not been around the complaining witness since about June 2022. In addition to that, he is in a new relationship. He's going to be moving in with his new girlfriend. So he has absolutely no desire to go anywhere near the complaining witness or her residence. With regards to this, Your Honor, Mr. Mr. Simpson also currently has a bond in the felony case that he is fighting. And it's about a $15,000 bond, which he's not going to be able to afford. And so with that, because he's already going to be struggling to try to, bond out on that, he's probably going to be in Fulton County for a little while. And so we're requesting a signature bond on this particular case because he's still fighting the other case as well.
Understood. Ms. Tyson, are you available? Yes. May I have, I honestly don't recall the GCIC. So if you could please give me the, he does have an open felony case, I
He
recall.
does. I can get, do you need the case number for that one?
Yes, please.
It's 23 CP 2760, and it's for possession of firearm by a convicted felon and possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce.
Okay. Anything else?
Has 18 arrest cycles. He has 5 felony convictions outside of the 10-year period. One for homicide by a vehicle in first, that was in 91. Let's see. He's got another habitual violator out of Lamar County. Let's see. A second one out of Barrow County. And a third one out of Macon County. He has, let's see. And he has 1 more felony conviction that's outside the 10-year period out of Fulton for manufacture, sale, dispense, distribution of drugs. Let's see. He has 1 FTA, 2 violations of probation, and his last arrest was out of Perry, Georgia, for DUI and driving while license suspended or revoked. And it looks like that case was dismissed in 2013. Nothing to add, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nemini, anything to add?
I just wanted to clarify that the opposing counsel said that he hadn't talked to the witness since June 2022.
That would be Ms. Samantha Adams.
Ms. Samantha Adams, and the incident happened November 2022. And I think the state believes that the 1,000 surety bond is reasonable, considering what happened, the alleged of a grill being thrown at someone. Yeah, and based on his criminal history, he is a habitual offender. So the state believes that that is a reasonable amount, Your Honor.
And just to clarify for the state, Your Honor, and for the court, yes, the date that I provided to the court was the date provided to me by my client, and that is an accurate date.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering why it was only 1,000, so I tried to look up my notes on this one. This is the lowest I can go, given Mr. Simpson's rather lengthy criminal record history,
yes,
as well as the fact that he has an open felony case involving a firearm, and the $1,000 signature bond is far more reasonable than I'm not certain why a signature bond would be a qualifiable bond under the circumstances of this case, and given the Ayala factors with regards to this defendant. So the request for a bond modification is denied.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So we are proceeding with further notice for jail jury, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, 3 South. All right, 3 South, do we have anyone else? Okay, do I have any conflict counsel who has appeared? No? Okay. I believe we are still holding for Ms. McLeod. If I recall, we're holding for her report, so.
Yes, Your Honor. Also, too, with regards to position, give me the right position number, position 21, Mr. J. Reed. We have reached out to Mr. Dennis Murphy. There is a conflict with him. Our office has a conflict with him, Your Honor, and so he has stated that he would be able to represent him. He had court at 9 a.m. and said that he would be logging onto the Zoom sometime around 10 a.m.
Okay, we'll hold for him too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 4 North, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And who do we have, please?
Position number 6, Mr. Elder.
All right.
One moment, Your Honor. Let me get Mr. McLean.
Oh, no problem. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, and I just submitted that no pros.
To Ms. Grace? Excuse me, Ms.
Ms. Champ-
Champion? Yeah.
Yes,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll just let you keep making the bond.
All right, Mr. McLean?
Good morning again. Let's say
Yes,
number
sir.
6.
Yes, sir. Mr. Elder, Curtis Elder?
Yes, Your Honor, this negotiated plea, it is a 1-count criminal trespass case.
All right. 4 North, if you could please unmute. Mr. Elder, could you alert the deputy that they need to unmute the computer screen? Please, deputy, please unmute. Thank you very much. This is Curtis Darrell Elder, case number 23 CR 4713B. Mr. Elder is accused of criminal trespass from a July 31st, 2023 incident. Mr. Elder, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. Mr. Elder, we are going to proceed with a plea hearing. So if I could please place you under oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Tellerian, what are the terms of the offer for Mr. Elder?
Yes, Your Honor. 12 months probation, 34 days to serve with credit for time served, 17 days, 50 hours community service, and stay away from 693 Dalvingey, that's DALVIGNEY Street Northwest in Atlanta. And that's the Corridor Gardens Apartments, bail and suspended after the completion of the community service.
Sorry, I do apologize. My handwriting is really getting worse and worse. But that was to serve 34 days, credit for time served 17 days. And how many hours of community service?
50, Your Honor.
50. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then the stay away. All right, got that one. Thank you. Mr. McLean, does your client accept these terms?
Yes, Your Honor, those are the terms we expected to hear, and he stipulates the necessary elements and asks the court to accept the plea.
Thank you. Mr. Elder, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am. I took a couple of migraine pills.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but are you still able to understand what's going on so far?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, yes.
All right. And Mr. Elder, is anyone forcing you to enter into a plea today?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand that if I accept your plea of guilty to this charge, that you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial? You will not be able to go back to court, have the assistance of an attorney to be able to challenge the evidence and the witnesses brought against you, to be able to present your own defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, with an explanation.
Yes, with an explanation. Yes, sir.
I actually was staying at that property.
Mr. Elder, it might be best if you have any questions about it, we could discuss it further. But as I understand it, you simply wanted to accept the negotiated plea.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Elder, if you're living at that property, then you should not have been arrested. Or if you are living at the property, that's your defense, and you have a right to challenge the charge in a court of law during the course of a trial. But if you are telling me that you were a resident and you're not a trespasser, then you're not agreeing to the facts as alleged by the prosecution.
I just wanted to give an explanation why I was there, and I actually was living with someone. I was living with my wife at the property, but we had separated.
So were you allowed to live at that property?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not trespassing then?
No, ma'am.
So why are you pleading guilty?
I actually wanted to get out.
So you're pleading guilty just to get out,
Yes, ma'am.
but you're not really guilty of this offense?
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. McLean, I'm not accepting this plea.
Understood, Your Honor. We would ask the court to consider a bond situation. If I might reach over and grab his booking sheet.
Yes, sir. All right.
Let's
Mr.
see,
McLean?
Your Honor, in the packet of information that constitutes our plea paperwork, see that he's got a $1,000 surety bond. We would ask the court to consider converting that to a signature bond so that it could be out and address this from freedom.
All right. Ms. Tyson, this is position 6 on the calendar. Do we have a GCIC on Mr. Elder?
Yes, we do. Mr. Elder, he has 14 arrest cycles. They begin in 1983. He does have 3 felony convictions outside of the 10-year period. It looks like they are all they're all drug felony convictions. He has, let's see, 1 FTA from 2017, and his last was actually an FTA out of Cobb County, and that was August of 2022. He does have 1 misdemeanor conviction. Let's see. It was for a sentencing that was amended to a disorderly conduct, and the disposition date on that is October of 2022, and that was out of Cobb County also. Let me check one thing. Nothing to add, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. McLean, does your client have a valid address? Because the Corridor Garden Apartments is apparently not a valid address.
Your Honor, he can speak to his, excuse me, his emergency contact is Reverend Larry Lockett, that is his minister. And the church at 5719 Gardner Road in Mableton, Georgia, which is in Cobb County, was going to provide him a place to live. So he can get, I don't know the address of the stable housing, but he has such a strong bond with the members of the church and with his minister that he feels confident they can get him a place to live.
What's the name of this minister?
Larry Lockett Jr., regular spelling, L-O-C-K-E-T-T. Larry Lockett Jr., Reverend, phone number, and we have the address of the church.
All right.
It's Words of Faith on Gardner Road in Maple.
Mr. I'm going to grant a $3,000 signature bond. The pretrial services. Mr. Elder will have to report to pretrial services once a month. He is to stay 500 yards away. That's the length of 5 football fields. 500 yards away from the location of the entire Corridor Gardens apartment complex, including the parking lot. Not just the buildings, but the parking lot, the leasing office, the entire apartment complex. He cannot return to that location. Do you understand, Mr. Elder?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't care who you're living with in the Corridor Garden Apartments, you're not allowed to go back there at all. If you go back there, if you step in the parking lot, all they have to do is call the cops and you can come back and enjoy the luxury of the Fulton County Rice Street Jail. You're going to be released to the custody of the Reverend Larry Lockett Jr. So Mr. Lockett will have to come down to the jail and pick you up. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot consume any illegal drugs, you cannot consume any alcohol, and you cannot possess any weapons.
Hey, get down.
But most important, you cannot return to that apartment complex. You know the length of one football field is 100 yards?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to stay 500 yards away. That's 5 football fields away.
Probably.
I need to hear that you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
All right, thank you. All right, this case is further notice for jail jury, and Mr. McLean, you will submit the proposed bond modification order.
I will. Thank you,
All
Your Honor.
right, please contact the good honorable Reverend Lockett and let him know he has a pickup at the Fulton County Jail.
Very good.
Thank you.
What was the amount on that, Your Honor?
3,000 signature
3,000.
through pretrial.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank you.
Position number 17, Mr. Hill.
Mr.
17.
McLean, on Mr. Elder, could you file a waiver of arraignment? And the case will be further notice for jail jury?
Yes, Your Honor. As soon as we get back to the office, there will be a slight delay to grab a bite, and then we'll file that.
No worries, as long as it's done by 5 p.m. today.
Sure.
Ms. Champion, please make a note that Mr. McLean has to file a waiver of arraignment in Mr. Elder's case. All right. 4 North, who do we have next?
We have Mr. Hill, position number 17.
Okay, that's Ms. Adams.
Your Honor, I'm a little confused. I have position 17 as Myers.
I'm going to confirm that. Deputy, could you tell me the name of the individual who's in 4 North?
Mr. Hill, Perry Hill.
Hill?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Hill is not 17. I don't have a Hill.
He's on our paperwork.
Oh, hang on.
Mr.
I have a
Perry.
Hines.
You want to do Hines first?
Yes.
Your Honor, Mr. Hill is on the competency calendar.
Oh, okay. Mr. Hill's case is going to be addressed at 11 a.m.
Okay. Apologize.
All right. We can do Mr. Hill, and then I have Miss McLeod for the conflict case and Mr. Murphy. I think this was just the magic fairy dust moment when all my conflicts appeared at the same time. Okay.
Judge.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Murphy. Is it Mr. Murphy?
Yes, Judge. I have Jay Reed, position 21.
Yes, you do.
Okay, just making sure because I had responded very, very early this morning. So I just want to make sure that you still needed me, so I'm here.
I haven't had Mr. Jay Reed appear. We are having all the individuals appear at the different jail locations. So we're doing them one by one. Yes,
Yeah.
4 North, who do we have?
I have Mr. Reed if you need him.
Oh, okay. I'm telling you, it's this magic moment. Everyone's just appearing now. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy. We can have Mr. Jay Reed.
Here he comes.
And then if by any chance, could we have Miss McLeod's cases as well? She has.
I have position 3 on Ms. Cora Barrett. I also have, I think it's position, just a moment. I have 2 others, Your Honor. One I believe is 17, 16 and 17, and the other is, I think, 11.
Yes, you have Jermaine Myers, position 16,
Yes, Your Honor.
and
I have
position 16 and 17.
orally. Position 3, Your Honor.
And position 11, who is
Yes.
that going to be?
Let me see, just a moment.
That's Keith Garrett.
Garrett, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
So I have Mr. Garrett. And
Judge, sorry, Ms. McLeod, sorry. be fine.
Mr. Murphy has position 21.
Yes, Judge, and I had yet to speak to Mr. Reed. I was hoping I could call the jail.
That'll be fine. Miss Melissa
The
Grace.
same thing for me, Your Honor.
All right. I don't see your clients yet, Ms. McLeod, so please hold. Miss Grace, 4 North, do you have somebody else I'll be addressing at your location?
Mr. Shelton Stevens.
This is Shelton Stevens. Okay. Do you have Jay Reed at that location?
Jay Reed is right here in front of you.
Okay, he needs to talk to his attorney, Mr. Dennis Murphy. Is there a way that they can call to?
Let me get the number real quick and I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Mr. Murphy, I would also recommend you put your cell number in the chat to 4 North. All right?
Yes, Judge.
All right. And then Miss Adams, we have your client. Did he say Stevens?
Yes, Your Honor, we requested a reset for Mr. Stevens. Mr. Stevens is farmed out to Cobb County. He also has some lengthy times that the state has offered. In addition to that, there's an additional case. We grab the case number for the court. Excuse me, it's a 2015 case, it's not on the calendar.
Mhm.
And so we were requesting that his case be reset in order to add the 2015 case. Just one moment, Your Honor, while I pull that case number up for the court.
Your Honor, may I interject while they're looking at, while she's looking that up?
Go ahead.
Your Honor, on 7, 8, 9, and 10, in addition to the not guilty, the additional wrinkle is that I can waive presence and waive arraignment. I'll file that.
7, 8, 9, 10, which is Mr. Escobar.
Yes, that is a not guilty on all 4, but it's also now a waiver of presence and waiver of arraignment.
All right. 7, 8, 9, 10. Ms. Champion, please make a note that Mr. McLean will be filing a waiver of presence and a waiver of arraignment. And these 4 cases are going to be further noticed for jail jury.
Your Honor, I put the phone number for Mr. Reed's attorney to call in the chat.
All right. Mr. Murphy, do you have that number?
I don't. If you can put me over to the, I didn't see it come up.
Okay, they've put the number in the chat to everyone. It's 404-613-7207.
Okay, noted, Judge. I'll jump out and call him now. Thank you,
All
Judge.
right. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. All right, Ms. Adams, we have Mr. Stevens at 4 North. Mr. Stevens, your attorney is Ms. Samantha Adams. What's your full name?
Okay.
4 North, who was that gentleman who just left?
That was Mr. Reed that just left.
Oh, that was Mr. Reed, who's going to be talking to Mr. Murphy. Who is this?
Stephen Shelton.
Stephen Shelton, okay.
Your Honor, I was informed yesterday that Mr. Stevens was in Cobb County. He also has a 2015 case. I was requesting a reset to Tuesday so that his case, the 2015 case, can be added. I'm trying to pull the case number right now for the court.
All right. And how far out do you want the reset to be?
To Tuesday, Your Honor, to the next calendar.
Let me see. The case number, I have a 2005 case. Does he have a 2015 open case as well?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe the case number.
I have 15 CR 012639.
Yeah.
All right. And let me check the calendar.
It says it was closed, but he has not. No.
Okay, we can reset it to August 22nd at 9 a.m. And we're going to reset this case, 23 CR 004813A, as well as add on the case of 15 CR 012639, both involving Stephen Shelton. Mr.
Your Honor,
Shelton,
Your Honor, I
that
think I
15
misspoke.
case is showing closed.
Yes, I
He
misspoke.
got probation on that case.
Yes, but it shows that he has a hold.
Oh, is it a probation hold? Is it a?
There's an open one that's 15 MAGC 08336. So that might be the correct one.
Yeah, that.
MAGC is a magistrate court case.
and that's not a accused case.
No.
So if he has a probation hold, then that he will have to go on the probation calendar for that 15 case, not the regular SAP calendar.
Okay. All right, Mr. Shelton, your case is going to be reset to next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Ms. Adams, we're going to transfer this, reset this one case. And if you find that he's got a probation matter, please alert probation so they can address it at the same time as well.
Yes,
Otherwise, he'll need to be placed on a separate probation calendar. That's something that's completely different.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shelton. And that's reset to August 22nd at 9 a.m.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
August 22nd at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Your Honor, the next person that I have right now in front of me with me is Mr. Reed. He's talking to his attorney. But I also have, well, you said Mr. Hills will have to come before you until 11 o'clock. I got a few people on 4th South, but I gotta wait because I got a lot of things going on right now.
So we have that one individual who's at 11 o'clock, but who are the other people?
Mr. Reed, those are the two that are with me right now. Now,
Okay.
when I go to another floor, I'm gonna have Mr. Cade, Mr. Worthy, Mr. Hines. Okay, I'm gonna have 7, 28, 13, 26, and 27, and then 12. I'm about to go see them in a few minutes.
All right.
If I may, Your Honor,
Just 1 second, please. Just 1 second. Is Mr. Reed still talking to Mr. Murphy?
Yes, he just got on the phone with him. He should be done in about 2 minutes.
All right, please, we will hold for 2 minutes for Mr. Reed to complete, and we'll finish that. Then if you can move on to the next floor.
All right.
All right, because I don't know who's going to secure Mr. Reed at 4 North otherwise. All right, now, I'm sorry about that. Ms. Adams, what was your request?
no problem, Your Honor. With regards to position number 28, I would need the opportunity to speak with Mr. Worthy. I attempted a visit yesterday, but he didn't show. And also too, with regards to position number, a moment, I believe it's 19, Mr. Durante Outlaw. Your Honor, he is a not guilty plea and he's waiving his presence. I do have a waiver drafted, and I can send it on over to the court with the rest of the paperwork.
All right, so position number 19, we will not need to address that. Ms. Adams, Ms. Champion, please make note that Ms. Adams will send in a waiver of presence and a waiver of arraignment. And this case is going to be further notice for jail jury. That's for position number 19. For position number 28, with regards to, was it Justin?
Worthy,
okay. As soon as he appears, we can try to facilitate a phone call or a breakout for you to address him.
yes, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I don't see anyone in courtroom 2. Good morning, Mr. Howard.
Yes. I do have an announcement on position 1 on the regular SAP calendar.
Yes, sir.
I've been working on that case. Judge, we're asking that be reset to Tuesday's SAP calendar. His mother may be on the line, but they have a court hearing today that will likely clarify things that will allow us to look into placement for him. So we're asking that it just be reset to Tuesday's SAP calendar to give them a chance to go to court today.
And which court are they going to?
It's a probate matter, Judge. Yes. And we've already spoken with potential placement, and if they get the paperwork today, it looks like that's all they'll need in order for us to finalize that. So we're just asking to reset to Tuesday.
All right. I don't see anyone who may be related to Nima Azlaki. Nima Azlaki. All right, they may be anticipating to come at 11 o'clock. So if they do, we will repeat the announcement, but this case is reset to August 22nd, 9 a.m. SAP calendar.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
Oh, you mean, Escamilla? Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Courtroom 2, we can hear you if you didn't mean for us to listen to those conversations. All right, I'm just waiting on Mr. Murphy's client to appear from 4 North. So please hold, folks. Miss Champion, can we confirm that position number 14 is released?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Okay, thank you. And 15 is reset for. Okay. Well, do we have the reset date for position 15? Is it next Thursday? August 24th?
I'm not sure, Your Honor, that's Mr. McLean case, if he can make an announcement on what date he wanted reset to.
Okay, this is regarding Rashad Moore. Mr. McLean, I've got a SW visit for Mr. Moore, position 15. So. You need to unmute Mr. McLean if you were making an announcement.
Thank you. A week should suffice, Your Honor.
Okay.
15 is 22. 15 and 22 are the same person. We noted we did a visit.
Okay, so both these cases are going to be reset to August 24.
Thank you.
That was. Okay, for North, we have Mr. Reed, Mr. Murphy. I think I'm just waiting for him to come back in. Mr. Reed, we're just waiting for your attorney to join back the Zoom. Ms. Champion or Ms. Grace, is Mr. Murphy in the waiting room or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Oh dear. Who's got position 27? Ronnie Smith. Oh, that's going to be a plea. Okay, understood. Mhm. Miss Hajizad,
Yes, ma'am.
are
Yes,
you
Your Honor.
here for Akima's case?
Nima Azlaki, yes.
Excuse me, Anima's case, Azlaki case, Nima Azlaki, yeah. Mr. Derek Howard, the attorney, has appeared and he has asked the case to be reset to August 22nd at 9 a.m. as there's going to be another hearing in the meantime in probate court. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
All right. So we will be addressing the criminal case for Nima next Tuesday at 9 a.m.
Your Honor, we have a time for a few minutes.
No, I don't. I have a whole bunch of other cases right now.
Okay.
But if you want to wait until Mr. Howard, or if you want to call Mr. Howard, you're free to
Yes.
do so.
I can call you, Ms. Hodge. I got your message. I'll call you.
Thank you so much.
All right, please mute your screen. All right, Mr. Murphy, don't leave, please. We are waiting on you.
And Your Honor, briefly, can I ask Mr. Howard to send me an email, please?
All right. I think he got it. He got the
Did
message.
you hear me, Mr. Howard?
All right.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you send me the email, please?
Would you-
The competency calendar email?
Yeah, I think it may only be one, but I'll okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That is such a soulful plea, so you cannot refuse that. Okay. All right. Position 21, we have State versus J. Reed, case number 23 CR 004621J. Mr. Reed is accused of battery from a July 26, 2023 incident. And Mr. Reed, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Dennis Murphy. Mr. Murphy, you've had a chance to confer with your client.
I have, Judge.
Yes, sir. And how would we proceed today?
Judge, I would ask to address the issue of bond. There is bond set in the case. I'd like to address that issue for
All right.
modification.
Let me just address another one first. Is your client entering a not guilty plea today?
Yes, Judge.
And will you be submitting a waiver arraignment, or would you like me to arraign him?
I will submit a waiver, Judge.
All right. Ms. Champion, please note that you'll be expecting a waiver of arraignment from Mr. Murphy with regards to the J. Reed case. We simply ask that you email that to Ms. Champion no later than 5 p.m. today. Okay?
Will do, Judge.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Mr. Reed is presently in custody, and he was awarded a bond of $5,000 at the initial appearance. Yes, Mr. Murphy, please proceed.
Judge, my client denies knowing anyone by the name of Phoebe Brown, and he denies having any altercation on that day. Judge, he has no resources to go out on a bond. I'd ask the court to consider a signature bond. The $5,000 good bond now amounts to no bond. There's nothing that I can see initially showing that he was out as a danger to the community in any capacity. Judge, He's originally from Fair Lawn, Virginia. Again, he's been in custody since the 26th, and he has no resources to make a bond. He has no employer to perhaps go out on a surety bond. So I'd ask the court to consider a signature bond under the circumstances.
All right. Yeah, I understand this is not a domestic violence situation. It just appears to be the allegation of an individual who was struck out at 2734 Peachtree Road.
That's correct, Judge. That's how I understand it.
All right. Ms. Nimini?
The 5,000 is more than reasonable, Your Honor. Mr. Reed has numerous arrests out of Tennessee, out of North Carolina, out of Virginia, and in Georgia, we have a battery and simple battery from January of 2021, obstruction and simple battery from September of 2021, battery from this recent case. And the state was able to talk to the victim, who is 81 years old. And she stated that she was just standing outside of her condominium when he ran up and hit her. The allegations that he just ran up and hit her, never out of nowhere. And, you know, just based on his criminal history, I think the state believes that 5,000 is a reasonable amount. He is a danger to society.
All right.
Your Honor.
Ms. Tyson, are there any open probation cases at the present time, or open cases with regards to Mr. Reed?
I don't believe that they are open. He didn't have a last arrest out of Tennessee. October 2020, it was for public intoxication. There is no disposition listed for that case. Let's see. He did have a April of 2022 case out of North Carolina. That case was dismissed for, let's see, second pass, and it was dismissed April of 2022. It doesn't appear he has anything open, and Odyssey doesn't reflect anything open either.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Murphy, any rebuttal?
Judge, I would only ask that, given the circumstances, and he has no other resources, and I concede that I'm having difficulty getting concise answers from my client. So I would, again, given these circumstances, the only way I can assist him in a viable defense is to have him out, Judge. So I'd ask again to reconsider a signature bond in the matter.
Under the circumstances of the set forth in the warrant and the incident report, as well as given his criminal record history, he doesn't qualify for a signature bond. He's also a out-of-state resident. We only have a Fair Lawn, Virginia address. Given these circumstances, the bond is going to be modified to a $2,500 surety bond. If Mr. Reed does make bond, he would need to make sure that he stays 200 yards away from the 2734 Peachtree Road location, have no further contact with Miss Phoebe Brown. Stay 200 yards away from her and do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. No alcohol and no illegal drugs and no weapons and firearms. Mr. Murphy, when you submit your waiver of arraignment, please also submit the order for the bond modification.
Yes, Judge. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Understood. And this case is going to be further notice for jail jury. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Reed, I'll see you at the jail next week. Thank you.
All right, y'all. I'll be right back. I'll be on 4 South.
All right. Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to have a few moments when 4 South resumes with the cases. Ms. Champion, any luck with the DB case that's scheduled for 11 a.m.? Oh, Ms. McLeod, yeah, we're going to wait till 4 South appears, hopefully with your clients as well.
Thank you.
Your Honor, there was no luck with getting in touch with the DB case.
Okay. Well, we'll just wait till 11 then. Any chance of doing the competency calendar? I see Ms. Kasha is present. Mr. Walker is present. Ms. Adams, is Mr. Howard present at a separate laptop?
Yes, he's present.
Mr. Howard, any issue with doing the competency calendar in the breakout?
To another area, and then we can do that.
If you ask nicely, maybe Ms. Adams will let you use her laptop because that's also on the Zoom.
I've got one.
Yes.
You got one? Okay, I don't see you on the Zoom. No.
So yeah, I'll move to a different area, Judge, and then we can do that.
Okay, just make sure you are on the Zoom though. I don't see you.
Right. I'll move to a different area and get on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. All right, as soon as Mr. Howard appears.
Judge, the person on the competency calendar is gonna try to log on. I mean, for the DV calendar, I'm sorry.
Mr. Lynette Owens?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Walker, do you have the DB case?
No, Miss Nimini does, I believe, but she's available.
All right. And Miss Adams or Mr. McLean, have y'all had any chance to confer or?
Yes, Your Honor, that's Mr. McLean's case. I do believe he had an opportunity to confer with him.
And it all happens at the same time. Okay. Is he logging on, Miss Grace? All right, thank you.
Yes, she is coming on now, the DV.
He is. Okay, thank you. Miss Lynette Owens, please unmute your screen. Lynette Owens, please unmute.
Oh, okay, yes, I unmute.
All right, thank you. Ms. Owens, good morning. My name is Judge Law. You are here because you filed a motion to set aside the bond forfeiture matter as a result of failure to appear before Judge Dixon in this particular case. The case number is 18 CR 004764C, in which you were accused of simple assault, 2 counts of simple assault, domestic violence from an April 17, 2018 incident. Please keep in mind that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you today, this morning at this proceeding is Mr. Michael McLean from the Fulton County Public Defender's Office. You filed the bond forfeiture on August 11th, 2020. You filed a motion to set aside the bond forfeiture on August 11th, 2023. And the bond forfeiture was issued by Judge Dixon back on January 24th. Back on May 31st, 2019. All right, Mr. McLean, how would you like to proceed? Please unmute, sir.
Okay, we're off mute. Your Honor, I would like to explain that my client is a student, and she, back in 2019, inadvertently missed court. She may not have been absolutely on top of keeping up the address because she thought she would hear from the court at the time. And she did not do it on purpose. She is now, several years later, 26 years of age. She's a student of cosmetology on Marietta Street. And she is also going to be taking courses in a Tuscaloosa Stillman College educational program. She does have a stable address now. It's created on the 11th day of August this month. It's 201 Pine Street Northwest, and that is a particular apartment number. She's got a good phone number, and she won't miss court again, Your Honor. She's sorry this happened.
Ms. Nemeth, any objection to a set aside and to show up in court?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Owens was given a pretrial release, which requires her to respond every month. She missed her court date, and it's been almost 4 years. I just want to stress that it's the defendant's responsibility to make updates to her address, to report once a month, and to also update her address. And the state is asking that the bench warrant not be set aside because this happened almost 4 years ago. Even if she moved and she had school stuff going on, it's still almost 4 years ago.
All right. Ms. Tyson, do we have any recent priors with regards to Lynette Owens? She's on our position 1 on our DV set aside calendar.
I'll check. One moment, Your Honor.
Your Honor, while she's looking that up, I forgot to mention that her Gmail account is current and is also listed in the August 11th filing.
Your Honor, the case that's on the DV calendar, that's her only arrest. And the only other arrest that she has was out of in Alabama, and that was from 2017 for a disorderly conduct.
Okay.
Nothing else.
When was the last time she reported to pretrial? She was supposed to report every month from April 18th, 2018.
Let's see. It looks like the pretrial officer reached out January 29th, 2019. Let's see. And she said she received no response from the client. They had sent a letter out before that for missing reporting after court, and that was January 22nd of 2019. And that was when they closed the case and did the bench warrant.
Okay, thank you.
After that.
All right. Anything else, Mr. McLean?
Looking at the pretrial report, it says she lived with a grandmother at the time. She had lived with a grandmother for 4 years at that time in Polar Rock, and that was back in 2018.
Okay. Ms. Owens, are you currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to deny the motion to set aside the bond forfeiture. You will have to report to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow. And once you are processed and we can close out this failure to appear warrant, I will issue a bond for a $2,000 signature bond through the jail on each count, which means that it will be recorded on your case as a failure to appear, which has been closed out by your arrest. And once you are processed at the Fulton County Jail, you will turn right around and be released on a signature bond through the jail. You will still be required to have no contact with the 2 victims in question. And you must maintain a current address with the court at all times and come back to court for trial. At the present time, Mr. McLean, your client is accused of 2 counts of simple assault, domestic violence. Shall I proceed with an arraignment, or would you like to file a waiver of arraignment?
We can file a waiver of arraignment, Your Honor. That'd be fine. Thank you.
All right. Please submit the waiver of arraignment by 5 p.m. today in both these counts. Ms. Owens, do you have any questions about your obligation for the next 48 hours?
No. Okay. After I get a bond, you said that I have to come to trial and I would have to plead guilty or not guilty, right?
Your attorney, Mr. McLean, will already be submitting your not guilty plea in writing. So that means your case is going to be scheduled for trial.
Okay.
But right now, you have to report to the Fulton County Jail by 5 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I noticed that, I don't think we've done this in the past, but it's probably a good idea to do it. The state has made her an offer, which I will communicate to her. I'll get on the phone with her this afternoon and let her know what the state offer is on the case itself. We don't always, in the past, I don't think we've done that, but I'll be glad to communicate that offer, as is my duty.
Ms. Nimini, do you have an offer right now for this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is it?
For the first count, 12 months to serve, 5 days, credit for time served, 2 days, family violence intervention program, no further contact with Ms. Tanya Owens, and 50 hours of community service. And then for the second count, 12 months to serve, 5 days, concurrent with count 1, and no further contact with Ms. Shan Wilson.
Shannon Wilson.
No, it's Shan, just S-H-A-N.
I beg your pardon?
It's just
Shan.
letters, S-H-A-N.
Okay. Right. Did you want to communicate with her now?
I'd be glad to do that, Your Honor. I could get on the phone with her if we take a pause.
Okay. Ms. Owens, right now, this is still an outstanding bench warrant for you, but I would recommend that you speak to Mr. McLean this morning before we proceed with your case. All right?
Okay.
All right. You will need to come back on Zoom after you've had your conversation with Mr. McLean.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Mr. McLean, you can go ahead and call her right now.
Yes,
Looks like
behind me as well, I'm sorry to interrupt, behind me on the bench are more clients for SAP.
all right. Are they your clients or Miss Adams?
2 of them are.
All right. Let's go ahead and address those.
Okay.
All right. This is for the individuals who are in the courtroom 2. My name is Judge Lal. We're going to be addressing each of your cases. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one of our public defense attorneys or conflict counsel will be representing you. Mr. McLean, you get to pick and choose.
Well, it turns out, Your Honor, that one person is number 2, Courtney Bakar, and we were doing a waiver of presence and a waiver of arraignment and made that announcement. So that was not necessary. She doesn't need to be here. She's not guilty, and we're filing a waiver of both presence and arraignment on her.
All right. Ms. Bakar, from what I gather, your attorney has told me is that you plan to that you are entering a not guilty plea and that the case will be scheduled for trial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. McLean, please go ahead and submit your waiver of arraignment by 5 p.m. today. And this case is going to be further notice for jail jury. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I believe we have Cherish Okafor. Sure.
All right.
Cherish Okafor is number 18, Your Honor.
Okay. This is Cherish Okafor. Yes, sir. And what is the announcement for position 18?
Negotiated plea, Your Honor. She accepts the state's offer.
All right. Ms. Okafor, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you will provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Yes. Thank you. Mr. Pellon, this is Cherish Okafor, position number 18. What are the terms of the plea?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 14 days, balance probated, anti-theft course, 40 hours of community service, and stay away from Olive Garden. I can get that address for you, Your Honor.
It's the Camp Creek Olive Garden location. And we didn't know if the state had truly meant to say 30 days instead of 28. It was not a sticking point with us. We did discuss the math. So she does accept the terms and ask the court to accept her plea.
All right. And Mr. McLean, you do stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID, yes?
We do.
All right. This is case 23 CR 004893J, in which Ms. Okafor had been accused of theft of services from August 3rd, 2023. Ms. Okafor, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
I need to hear you clearly. Please respond.
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney's services?
Yes.
And you've heard the terms of the offer. You would need to take an anti-theft class as well as complete 40 hours of community service while you're on probation. Would that be a problem?
No.
And Ms. Okafor, has your attorney explained to you that if I decide to accept your plea of guilty to this charge, you would have to give up your constitutional right to have a trial in this case? You will not have the opportunity to have the assistance of counsel, to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of theft of services?
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve. Any objection to 28 days, Mr. Pellon?
No, Your Honor.
12 months to serve 28 days, credit for time served 14 days. You will be released from the Fulton County Jail within the next 24 hours. Once you're released from the Fulton County Jail, you must report to probation next Tuesday at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta before 3 p.m. Do you understand?
Yes.
While you're on probation, you will complete the anti-theft class and 40 hours of community service, and you shall stay away from the Olive Garden restaurant at the Camp Creek location. Any objection to non-reporting once the conditions are completed, Mr. Pellon?
Not once conditions are completed, Your Honor. No.
All right. Ms. Okafor, you need to complete the anti-theft class and you need to show proof that you've completed 40 hours of voluntary community service. And then after that, your probation will be non-reporting. Until those conditions are completed, you are to report to probation every month. And at all times, whether you're on active or non-reporting probation, you have to stay away from the Olive Garden restaurant in question. All right. Any questions?
No.
All right. That concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, Mr. Howard, I do apologize, but we'll need to hold until we complete SAP. All right.
We can go to position 3, McLeod case.
Okay. Ms. McLeod, this is your client, and this is Cora Lee Barrett. And how would we like to proceed?
Your Honor, my client will be entering a plea this morning.
Okay.
It's a negotiated plea.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. Cora Lee Barrett, my name is Judge Lal. This is 23 CR 4751F, in which you were accused of criminal trespass from July 31st, 2023. You have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Do you see Ms. McLeod on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This is going to be a plea hearing, so may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony provided will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Tellerian, what is the state's offer for Ms. Cora Lee?
Yes, Your Honor, the offer is 12 months probation, 30 days with credit for time served, 30 days, 50 hours community service, stay away from the location 2981 Grand Avenue, Southwest Atlanta. No further contact with the victim in this case, Clifford Patterson at CLIFFORD PATTERSON. Thank you.
Ms. McLeod, are those the terms to which your client has agreed, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do so stipulate, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Barrett, are those the terms to which you've agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with the services of Ms. McLeod?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea offer today?
No, ma'am.
And Ms. Barrett, has your attorney explained to you that if I decide to accept your guilty plea, that you would be giving up your right to go back to court and have a trial in this case, to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 30 days. You'll be released within 24 hours. Once you're released, you must report to the probation office at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you are to complete 50 hours of voluntary community service at any nonprofit agency. You're also to stay away from 2981 Grand Avenue in Southwest Atlanta. You know that location?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to stay 200 yards away from that location and have no contact with Clifford Patterson, which means that you cannot communicate with this person or be in contact, whether in person or any other means, for at least 1 year. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any objection to non-reporting once the community service is completed?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Barrett, if you complete the 50 hours of community service and you show proof of said completion to your probation officer, then your probation will be non-reporting, but you still need to stay away and have no contact.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So while you're doing the community service, you need to report every month to probation.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, position number 7, Mr. Cade.
All right. Position number 7. Let me see.
I'm sorry, he said 7 because that was the
That
waiver.
was Escobar, yes. Could you repeat that case number? Is this the competency calendar?
Yes, that's the competency calendar, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Cade.
Deputy, we're going to address that after we're done with SAP. We'll be with him shortly. We're just doing the SAP calendar right now.
I have 2 other clients, but I have not yet been able to speak with either.
And I was going to get to that. Position 11 is
Mr. Garrett.
I am waiting on Keith Garrett and Mr. Jermaine Myers. Keith Garrett and Jermaine Myers.
Your Honor, right now I'm on 4 South. I have 4, which is Mr. Cade, Mr. Worthy, Mr. Hines, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Glover. Those are the ones I have with me right now.
Okay.
I had Myers earlier, but you know.
Is it possible to bring Mr. Myers back?
Mr. Myers is on a different floor. I was wondering if we could hit any one of these first.
Oh, definitely.
That way we don't have to keep going back and forth between different floors.
All right. Ms. McLeod, if you please hold, we'll need to wait for your client to get back to the floor. Ms. Adams, are we done with everyone in courtroom 2?
I believe there's one person in courtroom. Oh, okay. The one individual here,
It's on the 11 a.m. competency. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor. And also, too, Your Honor, I do have a Ronnie Smith. I believe he's on 4 South. I don't know if.
Okay. Did you need to speak to Mr. Worthy?
I do need to speak with Mr. Worthy, Your Honor. If I can be placed in a breakout space with him.
That would be difficult, but 4 North, is there a number that Ms. Adams can call to speak to Justin Worthy?
She can call the same number that's in the chat.
Okay.
Ms. Adams, the number has been sent the chat ending in 37207. All right. All right, 4 North, other than Mr. Worthy, let's address the individual, the next case that you have. 4 North.
Mr. K, Mr. Hines, Smith, or Glover, which one would you like?
Let's do Mr. K.
He's a fully working out.
I'm sorry, could you repeat his last name?
Mr. K, C-A-D-E.
He's on the competency calendar. You're on the position.
Oh,
number
no.
7.
I need Mr. Hines then. Mr. Hines is GH, position 13, Russell Hines.
Mr. Hines.
All right. Ms. Adams, your client, Mr. Hines, is ready.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear what you said.
Russell Hines, is that your client?
Mr. Hines, no, Your Honor.
Is that Mr. McLean's client?
What position is he, Your Honor?
Position 13.
Yes, that's Mr. McLean's client.
All right, is he ready?
Mr. McLean is finishing up on the phone. I believe he's speaking with Ms. Owens.
All right, if you could pause in that conversation and come back to Russell Hines. We have him ready and waiting at 4 North.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on, put you on hold.
He's coming, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Give me a moment.
All right.
Why don't we'll put that other matter on hold and we're ready for Mr. Hines.
Appreciate it, Ms. McLean. This is case 23 CR 004793G. This is State versus Russell Hines, who is located at 4 North at the Fulton County Jail. And Mr. Hines, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. This is going to be a plea hearing, so Mr. Hines, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Pellin, what is the plea offer for Russell Hines?
Your Honor, state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance probated. We'd also ask for family violence intervention program, 40 hours community service, alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment, a $300 fine, no further contact with Chris Cole, and stay away from the incident address.
Thank you. Mr. McLean, are those the terms to which your client has agreed?
They are.
All right. And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for this charge of battery, family violence?
Yes, we do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Hines, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you to take this plea offer today?
No.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea, you understand that this will be a conviction for battery, domestic violence on your record.
I do.
And has it been explained to you that if you are ever arrested for a similar offense in the future, that it will automatically be a felony charge as a matter of law?
I do.
All right. And also, has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be appointed counsel so that you can face your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, examine witnesses, present any defenses if you choose to do so, and have the state try to prove the original charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Understood.
Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery, domestic violence?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days. You'll be released within 24 hours if you have no other holds pending against you at the jail. If you are released, you have to report to your probation office next Tuesday before 3 p.m. And that will be located at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete a 24-week domestic violence intervention program. Those classes must begin within 60 days of being released. You're also to complete 40 hours of voluntary community service. While on probation, you will also submit to an alcohol and drug evaluation with a qualified healthcare provider. This must also be completed within 60 days of being released. If the evaluator recommends treatment or counseling, you must submit said treatment at your expense. At all times while you're on probation, you are to have no contact with Mr. Chris Cole and stay away from the incident location. Any questions about your sentence, Mr. Hines?
No.
All right. Mr. McLean, anything else?
Nothing further. I noticed the calendar had one L in Russell, but other papers had two L's in Russell. I don't know which is correct. Mr. Hines, does your name have one L or two in
Two
Russell?
L's.
Two L's. We'll go with that. Thank you.
Your Honor, where the fine apply, the $300 fine applies?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the $300 fine. That's a $300 fine as well. Thank you. Yes, I do see the accusation. I think we'll just have to put an AKA on the documents that Mr. Russell Hines with one L on Russell is also known as Russell, Russell Hines. Thank you.
Can we do position 26 to 27, Mr. Smith?
All right, this is with Ms. Samantha Adams. Mr. McLean, do you want to resume your call with Ms. Onet, and then if Ms. Adams can take a pause?
Yes, Your Honor. Y'all are about to address Ronnie Smith. Okay.